Let's talk about foreign keys. So we have our recipes table. What happens if we delete from it? So this is the khachapuri. If we delete that, we still have photos in the other table. That's a problem, right? We don't want orphan photos. So let's just run that. Okay, and now we'll select them. We still have photos here, right? That's a problem. We don't want to have photos just hanging out in our database if they don't correspond to a recipe. Wouldn't it be good if we could constrain that if we delete something from our recipes table that necessarily those things have to go out of the photos table? Well, lo and behold, there's something called a foreign key that actually will do that for you. So I'm actually going to reset my table right now because I want to make sure everything works the same way. So if you run this little query here, it'll just reset your table to everything being good data again. This is kind of an interesting one here, the if exists. So if it didn't exist, this wouldn't do anything. So this just adds a bit of resiliency to say hey, if this exists, drop it. If not, do nothing. Okay, so we did that. Now we're gonna recreate our photos table a little bit differently this time. So create table, recipes, photos. Okay, we're gonna give it a photo ID of integer. You could also just give it ID, either is fine. Integer, primary, key generated, always as identity. Okay, we're going to have a URL, which is a varchar 255, not null. And then we're going to do this recipe ID, but we're going to make this one a little bit different. It's going to be an int, but it's going to say references, recipes, the recipes table, and specifically the recipe ID in that table. Then you have to tell it what to do if a delete happens. So you could do on delete. There's do nothing, I think. There's set null. So it's not do nothing. It's no action, which basically means, hey, if someone's trying to delete out of this table and has not already cleaned up the other table, just throw an error. Make them go clean the other thing first before you come back to me. Now I'm lazy because if someone deletes something from the recipes table, I just want to delete those photos, right? So I'm going to say on delete cascade. This is basically saying, hey, if someone actually deletes out of the recipes table, just delete everything that this references in the other table. So now if I run this delete that I ran up here, what would you expect to happen to its photos in the other table? They would go, right? They would delete. The delete would cascade to the recipes photos tables. If I put no action, then what it would do is this would error until I ran the delete on the other table first. And then if I did set null, what it would do is it would just set recipe ID to be null, right? So then I would have orphan photos, but they don't have any recipe IDs that they do, hook up with. So I just showed you here on delete. You can also put on an on update if there's some sort of synced state between the two. Let's say I have I don't know, I'm making stuff up now, but let's say I have English photos and French photos. And if I update a photo to be French instead of English, and you want that to update to cascade to the other one, you can handle that with the on update part of it. We're not going to do anything with that today. We just care about the on delete. But that's what's cool about a foreign key, is now I can have this tight relationship between table A and table B. What's also cool about this, if I try and insert into recipes, photos, values, I guess I have to put here recipe ID, title body, and I put values, you know, some number that's not realistic, thing, other thing. Did I not create that already? Or did I call it recipes photos? Oh yeah. D recipes photos, and it's URL, not title body. Photo ID, recipe ID. So I just need a URL. Anyway. Now, what it's going to tell me here, this violates the foreign key constraint, which basically said, like, hey, you're trying to put something into the photos table that's trying to reference something in the recipes table, but that doesn't exist. I'm not going to let you insert this until you fix that. So now I can't accidentally insert orphan photos as well. So that's what this foreign key constraint does, is it makes sure that these things stay in sync.